Wherefore, Series 3, Episode 10. Oolites are tiny creatures who have made calcium shells for themselves. Gathered together, they may be considered oolite sand. Compressed into rock, and they form a grainy basis for hills. Oolites are very small, and once they become rocks, they tend to sit around showing few obvious signs of consciousness or activity. Conventional wisdom has it that limestone made of oolites is just so much dead rock. Some of us know differently. There are those of us who have deep and affectionate relationships with the oolites. It is possible to fall in love with oolites without being able to hear their voices. I'm not sure it is possible to hear their voices and not fall in love with them, though. Unlike oolites, badgers are widely understood to be alive. Unfortunately, they are not reliably understood to be intelligent, thinking, feeling individuals who deserve to be left in peace. There are no obvious connections between oolites and badgers unless you have been blessed with the insight necessary to consider the matter. Both oolites and badgers are thinking beings and highly philosophy-orientated. The oolites, being stationary and eternal, tend to favour a dreamy, speculative sort of philosophy. They wonder about eternity, yeast cultures, why you don't see so many dinosaurs these days. Badgers, on the other paw, are immensely practical and study philosophy with the explicit intention of living more fully. They ask questions about the best way to eat a worm, and whether one should worry about one's literary legacy if one has never written anything down. Most of the time, the badgers and the oolites take little interest in each other's business. This, however, tends to change around census time. Badgers really enjoy a good census. They are usually prompted to undertake one whenever the humans are having a go, as is the case this March. However, they don't limit themselves to once every 10 years and will have a census of some percentage of their population whenever they happen to feel like it. A badger census tends not to include much in the way of details about living arrangements. It won't ask how many badger cubs are in your set, but it may ask you to suggest at what point a badger cub can no longer be considered a cub. Does reincarnation exist, and if so, is all food essentially cannibalism? Am I simply a community of beetles? The answer to these questions are tackled in all sorts of ways. Badgers are not that keen on bureaucracy, so will deal with their surveys by all kinds of other means. Questions could be answered by the thoughtful arrangement of tiny pebbles or by strenuous circle dancing on a village green. As far as anyone can tell, badgers are actually able to form meaningful understandings of their own census results by these means. It was, in fact, a badger census on the relationship between peanuts and deity that prompted the destruction of Rob's lawn last year and the ensuing fears about a cockwomble invasion. But there we go. This is where oolite life and badger life truly collide. There are always questions the oolites hope the badgers will explore. Sometimes, when there is a badger census in the offing, the oolites get so carried away discussing what they should try and ask the badgers that no one gets round to asking at all. This leaves the oolites free to contemplate what the badgers might have said, and this often works perfectly well for them. What do the oolites want to know? Their questions have a particular flavour, it would be fair to say. They wonder things like, how feet? And if beetles, then? How important is the taste of soil? Does daylight sound different to darkness? What are ears? Getting the questions to the badgers is of course technically difficult. There aren't many obvious go-betweens. The worms won't do it, and the grass tends to forget the first half of the question even as you try to convey the second half. Sometimes the oolites try all shouting at once, but this makes them feel odd. It also tends to give people terrible migraines. On a few occasions, the oolites have tried to persuade the wizard Wigston to act as a go-between. He is one of the few people who reliably hears them, and he is also known to converse with badgers. The major problem with this strategy is that the badgers don't take oolite questions lightly. They may well answer with questions of their own. If the oolites ask what are ears, they may well get a lengthy reply about the nature and purpose of the ear, or perhaps one badger's take on what makes the ear especially beautiful. However, the condition of sending the response may include a counter question such as when is time, or the ever popular wherefore. In this regard, the badgers are being deliberately awkward. There are a lot of oolites, and that alone makes it hard for them to come up with single coherent answers. Not that the badgers really want answers. They just enjoy the idea of an entire hill arguing about what time means. Even more entertaining to the badgers is the process of getting Wigston to run up and down in the middle of this, repeating ever more surreal questions and spurious answers as he goes. Wigston suspects that this is a badger-oolite conspiracy and that they know exactly what they are doing. Sometimes he tolerates this, especially if their answers are amusing. Often he finds he is too busy to spend much time leaning into badger sets, shouting, "Yes, but why ears?" only to have to explain to a stone that ears are both an evolutionary accident and an aesthetic necessity. The oolites are at least well enough organised about communication that if you speak to some of them, the message tends to get round. Wigston often has a bit of oolite in his pocket, just in case, although he often feels like they take unfair advantage of him. Yes teeth, or no teeth, or knowing teeth, the oolites inquire. Does water remember you? The badgers ask back. They like this question so much that it forms the basis of their own next census, in which they undertake to collect all of their theories about the memory capacity of water in a single muddy puddle on the side of Rodborough.